The rand breaking a 4-day losing streak on Monday, while the JSE closed weaker amid mixed global peers as investors monitor the U.S. debt ceiling negotiations. Investors are awaiting the April consumer price inflation data and South Africa's Reserve Bank interest rates decision in a day or two. Bianca Botes is Executive Director at Citadel Global. She joins us now for a quick markets update. Bianca, good morning to you. Let's start with the rand. Beginning the week firmer, still under pressure though. Talk us through the latest trajectory when you look at the currency.
Good morning to you and the viewers at home. Thankfully, the rand broke that losing streak because I think we were all starting to get a little bit nervous once we saw those 1950 levels. The rand is trading stronger today after seeing all-time lows against the dollar topping 1950 earlier in the month. Currently, the local electricity and growth woes continues to weigh on the currency, but it also faces pressure from risk-off sentiment in the global market environment. The Fed is expected to hike rates on Thursday, and a hike in excess of the expected 25 basis points will actually be beneficial for the rand and assist us to gain some further ground. However, we will only really start seeing a substantial gain in the rand that could be sustained over a period of time when the US starts cutting interest rates, which is currently expected to only start taking place towards the end of the year.
Let's talk commodities then. Oil prices continuing to climb in early trade, with investors expecting a tighter market, which is led by a seasonal rise in fuel demand and, of course, the supply cuts from the cartel OPEC Plus producers. Help us make sense of those developments.
The oil prices extended gains above $72 a barrel. And that's extending gains from the previous session amid improving demand outlooks, especially from China, coupled with declining global supplies. Now, as you will recall, Economics 101 normally tells us that the moment that supply is not sufficient to meet demand, you'll actually see an increase in the underlying commodities price. And that is exactly what we are seeing here. The International Energy Agency projects that the global demand will exceed supply by 2 million barrels per day in the second half of the year. So that's really what is driving the oil price higher at the moment.
Let's talk global, or should I say ratings agencies. S&P Global retaining South Africa's credit outlook at stable and choosing not to release a report on its semi-annual review. This time around, how is South Africa's economic status looking at the moment, Bianca, and what will other ratings agencies do on the back of this?
The economic outlook in South Africa remains fragile, and I think we must be cautious to not get too optimistic on the back of this basically keeping our outlook stable and not making an adjustment. My view is that they are giving South Africa a time to actually address some of the concerns around grey listing, some of the concerns around our electricity crisis. So they are giving us the opportunity to buy some time and actually get our ducks in a row in terms of solving these problems. The decision by S&P not to downgrade the outlook in South Africa, however, does not automatically mean that other ratings agencies will give us that same benefit. So that still remains a concern for the South African economy.
Let's conclude with the matters domestic. Attention is going to fall on the April consumer inflation data on Wednesday, and then the South African Reserve Bank's Monetary Policy Committee's decision on interest rates come Thursday. What can we expect from those announcements?
Inflation is set to remain well above the target band set by the Reserve Bank, and annual inflation for April is expected to marginally decline from 7.1% seen in March to 7% in April. However, we do expect the Reserve Bank to hike rates by a minimum of 25 basis points on Thursday in an effort to counter inflation and actually bring it closer to those target bands.
Bianca Botes, let me thank you very much for that markets update. She is Executive Director at Citadel Global.